3, 2, 1, go.
When we talk about speed, what comes to your mind? The answer must be racing. Today, in our interview, we have a person who still chases his dream by racing. He built up his career by racing as well as his passion. He is a well-known Sri Lankan internationally.
I'm the luckiest sportsman in the world with all these people with me.
We warmly welcome a very special legend in Sri Lanka to our show. He is Mr. Dilantha Malagamuwa.
Japan, I went, I didn't have anything. I was just living in a van for the first 6 months, and I was having a meal a day and I was doing odd jobs. I never did any studies in Japan. If you have a very strong will to do anything, nothing is impossible. So I dream a lot. I mean, every winner is a dreamer. We have to teach in school for young children, it's very important. I wanted to become a world champion, so I was always wanting to race overseas. I don't believe in heretics, astrology, all that. I don't believe at all. So after watching that movie, I really wanted to become a racing champion. It's a hard work you got to do. You have to take a risk. So live your life, how you want to live. No, don't let anyone control you and live the way they want. You got to live your life, then it's so much fun. And life is such an interesting thing if you handle it right.
Today we have a special guest who has joined our interview. He's achieved his dream as well as his passion. He is Mr. Dilantha Malagamuwa. Hello sir.
Hi.
First of all, I need to say before I start this interview, this is going to be a role model and a fan. Okay, I'm a biggest fan of you. Okay. So that means I know some information about you. Your name is, that means your full name is Dilantha Ranjula Bandara Malagamuwa. Is it correct?
Yes.
And you were born in 1963, June 24.
Yes.
Is it correct? Yes. At Kurunagara, Malagamuwa.
Yes.
And you have internationally raced 181 races and got 28 podiums as well as...
No, I have done about 430 races, and locally I have got almost about 200 podiums, and internationally also I have got about 200 podiums.
Okay. And I think your first title win is in 1995.
Is winning the Japanese championship.
Championship, N1 championship.
Yes.
Is it correct?
Yes.
And for now, I think in Katukurunda you are running a racing school.
Yes, actually I was based in Malaysia running the racing school for the Sepang circuit, but right now in Katukurunda is not a very special one. We do on and off, because until we have a proper racing circuit, we can't run a proper race school. But at least once a month or so, we go to Katukurunda and conduct classes. Yeah.
And the most special thing is your smile. That means no matter if you win or lose, the smile is on your face. So before I start my questions, I need to, that means when you were small, your mother that means wanted to be a doctor for you.
Yes.
Is it correct?
Yes.
So how did it change to being a racer?
When I was about 14, I watched this Hollywood movie which is called Silver Dream Racer. So after watching that movie, it inspired me, and then I really thought this is what I really want, because I have seen races in Sri Lanka, but that was totally different. So after watching that movie, I really wanted to become a racing champion, and I decided I'm going to do that.
Okay, that means your first race was in when you was age 16.
Yes.
So I think behind that there was some story behind that. Can you just tell me about it?
Actually, yeah. So I watched this movie when I was 14, and then I wanted to race. I know my father will never allow me to, but my grandmother bought me a Honda CB50, and then so I had to sneak and without my parents knowing to go and race. So that was a bike I was running around. So I thought I'll race in this, and from Kurunagala I rode it to Katakurunda, and it was the first race, and I won the first race.
That means when you were small,
Yeah.
that means who was your hero or role model?
Actually, I didn't ever have something like that, but I loved racing, and there was no such thing for me.
Most of that means parents don't encourage children for like these. That means they
In Sri Lanka.
in Sri Lanka, not globally. So when you were small, how did you manage your sports and your educations and those?
Oh, actually, grade 1, I went to Kurunagala St. Anne's College, and from grade 2, I was at Trinity College, Kandy, and I was in the boarding. So it was like military, how boarding is. So we had to do everything. So we did sports. I did everything. For racing, I think when I was like 7, 8 years, I could ride and I could drive. My father didn't know that, but they never knew better. And I also never thought of becoming a racing driver or rider. But I used to do a lot of other sports. But I was very good in studies because I wanted to fulfill my mother's dream to becoming a doctor. So it all went well.
And I got to know that means your first race was you raced without knowing your parents.
Yeah, they didn't know because if I asked them, they wouldn't have given me permission. Yes.
So I think the first race was in India, Calcutta.
I know that was my first international race. Yes.
So how did you get there?
Actually, so when after winning my first race, my two sisters, I wanted to go. I'm a very optimistic person, so if someone wants to do 100, I want to do 1,000, and then from a 50cc, I directly wanted to go to thoroughbred racing. So I wanted to go to the highest level, which is normally it takes a while. You have to go step by step, but I knew I could do it, but then I needed a racing bike. So I told my sisters, and they bothered my father to buy one. So when I was almost 17, my father bought this Yamaha 350 for me, which was a proper racing bike. And in the first race in Kurunagala, I was third in the first race, and the second race I had a crash, and then my father said no more racing, but I never gave up. And my intention was always, my dream was not to win in Sri Lanka, and I wanted to become a world champion. So I was always wanting to race overseas. So when I saw this paper advertisement in newspaper saying that they're calling for riders to go to India, I applied. But unfortunately, they didn't allow me to go as an official rider. But I never give up things in life. So I found out where they're going to have it. And I wrote to the Madras Motorsports Club saying, I want to come, I have all the experience, I have the bike. So can you give me a entry? So they said, yes, we can give you a private entry, but you have to find your own expenses and come to India. So I did some research and find out how was the easiest way to go to India from Kurunagala. So from Kurunagala, you could take a train, you go to Talaimana. From there, you take a ferry, go to Rameshwaram, and then there you have to take the train to Madras. So that's how I did it, and my father didn't know, but I told my mother and my two sisters, and also I got money from
your family, except your father, others support you.
No, my mother is dead scared about it, but she had no other option, And then I told my grandmother I want money for something, so she gave me. So I was 19 at that time, so you have to get a carnet for the motorcycle, the visas, all that with two of my friends without my father knowing. We did all that, and one fine day we left to India, and that was the first international race. And in India, I met this Japanese person, Matsumoto Kemme, and that's what that was the whole thing for me to go to India, because he said I had the oldest bike, I was the youngest rider, and we had a chat, and he used to always come and fool around with me and say, you have a very old bike. So I said, one fine day I'm going to beat you. So he said, how are you going to do that? So I said, I will go to Europe or to America, because I never knew about Japan. So then he told me, Japan is the best country. If you want to race, you should come to Japan. And he was very kind, we were joking, fooling around with each other, but I thought he's very kind, and his words. And then he said, you should come to Japan. So I said, if I come to Japan, will you help me? He said, definitely. And he gave me his address, but I lost it. And then my father came to Calcutta looking for me, and then he dragged me back, and that was the start of me going to Japan. And I never knew anything about Japan. But after coming back from India, I told my father I want to go to Japan. He never allowed it. So one fine day I sold my car, bought a one-way ticket, and with 4,000 rupees I left to Japan.
Okay, and I think that means in Japan you followed the automatic engineering, I think.
No, in Sri Lanka.
In Sri Lanka.
Japan, I went, I didn't have anything. I was just living in a van for the first 6 months, and I was having a meal a day, and I was doing odd jobs. I never did any studies in Japan. Yeah, so then
you finished here and then
I finished part of it, but my intention was not studying. Just I started doing automobile engineering because I wanted to race, and then I went, and then I knew if I wanted to race, I need money, so no one would sponsor me or no one would support me. So within a year, I did a lot of odd jobs, and after 1 year, I thought I should start my own company. And I started exporting motorcycles, and then so I went in 1985. In 1987, I bought my first racing motorcycle, and I started racing motorcycles in Japan in 1987.
Okay, and that means after you returned from Japan to Sri Lanka, after that only you started this taxi, Dilantha taxi, and those things.
That was in 2000. I started in 2018. So I lived in Japan for 25 years. And then I moved to Malaysia. I was running the race school there, so I was there for 6 years. And then from 2017, I started racing in Europe. So then I thought of coming and living here. And so I came here end of 2017, and all the other businesses I started in 2018.
And what the special thing I see in you is you never give up in a race. So
not only race, in anything,
anything life. And so what keeps you motivated always? What is that?
Yourself. I think if we have a very strong will to do anything, nothing is impossible. So I dream a lot. Every winner is a dreamer, and they never gives up in life. So I'm a dreamer. I still dream things. I still want to do things. I still want to achieve things. So whatever I feel I want to do, I do it, and I have never failed. So I think it's all about law of attraction, so you build your own energy, your power. So because see, most of the people, they are in a very comfort zone, so they don't do that. But we gave up everything. We risked everything. I risked everything I had to achieve my dreams, and I still do it. And people will never do that because they will always want to be comfortable. I never had a comfort. When you think like that, I had never comfortable. But I think I have the best life, because I live my life.
That means you are you.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. So another thing, when I want to tell about you, that means when you won the first international title, how did you feel? That means you won the world title, right?
The first title was in Japan, the Japanese championship. But in Japanese championship, one of the hardest places because they're very competitive and they are drivers from all over the world. So when I won it, it was, I really, it was a dream come true. And after that, I won so many championships and first runner-up in championships, so which are, I think, Asian records. And every win there's a story, so I remember everything, So for me, before the race I always win because I decide before the race I'm going to win or I won the race. Because if you want to decide or you want to plan how you're going to win a race within the race, it will not be easy. Yeah. So I always mentally I'm very strong. So before, when I sit in the car, I just simulate that I have won the race. So then it's easier. Less pressure.
And that means in Sri Lanka, the youngsters always, that means they don't like to take a challenge or risk because of their society and their surroundings. So as a parent, in a view, how will you give a message to the parents that find out your son or find out your child, what can he do? Give him a chance.
I think even for someone, yeah, you should definitely do that because, we just live once, and then, when children are small and, until you're a teenager, the parents control everything. So, I think it's not fair because if someone wants to do something, it's his life, But the parents have to guide and manage him, but then you should let them do what they want, because one fine day they will regret and they will say, oh, my parents didn't let me do it. I have met so many. But, not everyone is strong like me to run away from home and do things. But, if like the parents can, like if you see in the Formula 1 or even the world champions, the parents are helping them. Even they're 3-4 years, they start racing. Some are forced to do it. Say a racing driver, he will always want his son to do it. That is also not good. So I have met people, they are racing, but their passion is something else. And then like I was inspired by a movie. People, even in the latter part of the life, they will realize, oh, this is what I wanted to be, So you must give them a chance. Talk to them, be very friendly, ask them what do you want to do. It's not like they're studying and pressuring them to get good results in exams, because it's just a result, and there are other things, better things in life, So you have to give them a chance, talk to them, and you can't control them. You should never control anyone, even the children. But like I said, you should guide them and you can manage them, but never control them. But unfortunately, around our Asian areas, every child is controlled, they can't have their life. So because the thing is, when you start living your life, you will achieve everything you desire. So how many of us live our life? I lived my life. Whatever the problems was, whether my father liked it or not, I lived it. And it's a risk. Everything is a risk in life. Walking on the road is also risk nowadays, But so if I talk to them and I ask people, do you live your life? So they don't understand. What do you mean by living? Yes, I'm living. But do you really enjoy what you do? Are you happy every day? How many of us are happy?
That means the end of the day before you
Yeah, because it's controlled. The husband is controlled by the wife is controlled by the husband, children are controlled by the parents are controlled by the children, or you might be controlled by your senior. So this is how life is. So I can't live like that. So I always wanted to have my freedom, because in life the most precious thing in life is time, because you should never let anyone waste your time. And the most important thing is freedom. So these two you need in life,
Okay. And this is a personal question. When you race, that means in the track, that means I think you might be running around the track. So at that time, what goes in your mind?
Nothing goes in my mind, because racing, compared to other sports, you have no time to think about anything, because you're running around 280, 300 kilometers per hour, and then you have to see your dashboard, you have to see the pressures, oil pressures, water temperatures, and then they will call you on your radio, and you have to see your lap times, and then you have to see where are you going to overtake them, how are you going to, not to block, but how are you going to defend yourself from the person who is coming to overtake you. So it's like a meditation, because when I finish the race, I can't remember a thing, but I see we have a onboard camera. So when I see it, I can't remember anything, because it's so focused. So, I respect every sport, but this is totally different. 50 minutes, you're just running, it's like a meditation. So
that means going in between a war.
Yeah. So you can't actually, there's no time to think about it, you can think you'll be the last if you want to think and drive, but it's just, so that's what I said, simulation is very important. So before a race, so like people have simulators, so I do my simulation within myself, so I sit in the night before I sleep, so I run the race laps and all that, so I have a stopwatch, I run, I time everything. So simulation in anything, if you can simulate, you can do anything, not only racing, but anything. So when you simulate, it's like you will know what you're going to do, because already you are in it. Yeah. So you are living in the future, isn't it? So that's all simulation. So it's very important. So I think mental health and these things we have to teach in school for young children, because it's very important. And nothing is impossible in life, but it's how you do it yourself. I don't know how I did it, but I learned it, and I used to do counseling myself, in our countries, when you say counseling, they think you are mad. But in other countries, counseling is a normal thing because people need to talk to someone, sometimes. Even the richest person, he still needs counseling. He needs to talk to someone. So what I learned was when I was in Japan, I went to a temple and I learned how to counsel myself. So I used to talk in the mirror with me, because you can never lie to yourself. You can lie to everyone, but can you lie to yourself? You can't. So it's easy. So I learned that and I still do it. So I talk to myself a lot.
And another thing, that means when you get a trophy or a medal or something, what is memorable for you, at that moment do you think about someone? Like your parents?
Yeah, I mean, I think about Sri Lanka, because everything I do is first. Yeah, I know my father and mother, my two sisters. I mean, so I remember everyone who is gratitude, everyone who supported me, all that. So I always remember, and I've collected all my trophies, all my racing motorcycles that I race I have about 7 racing motorcycles, and some of the cars, I have some overseas, but I want to bring them. So I want to make a museum. So every day when I wake up in the morning, I go and see all my trophies, and it reminds me of everything.
That
so
motivates you.
and it's a very good feeling, your results, because you can do anything, but if you don't have results, it's a failure, So that's the thing in life. So
And another question, that means when you race or in life or any situation, if you are giving a motivation line, what would be it?
I mean, you have to trust yourself. Anything you have to believe in yourself, and nothing impossible in life. So you have to trust yourself. So you see, we want to do something, someone tells you, okay, jump from here to there. You're scared because you don't trust yourself. So you got to first trust yourself more than anything. And if you are for yourself, you can do wonders. So you have to trust yourself.
Okay, so my next question, when you come to your driving car, in that, especially the Sri Lanka flag, obviously sticker it out.
Yeah.
So, and you have mentioned the main sponsors, the humble people of Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Is there a story behind it?
Yeah, it's very true, because I didn't get sponsorships from Sri Lanka. Like they was very small, but compared to other sports, like if you see a cricketer, they are sponsored, they have the managers, they have the physios, they have everything. But I don't have anyone. I go myself and I do it. But no other sports person in this world have got the love and the blessing from Sri Lankans. Wherever I go, they are always there. So that have given me motivation, and also that have given me so much of energy to win races, because every time, even before race, if I post something, the amount of blessings and the messages I get, I read everything. Sometimes 3,000-4,000 messages, I read everything, and that I don't think everyone will achieve it, no one. And so that's why I have that slogan on the car. My main sponsor is Humble Sri Lanka.
And another thing, that means government usually don't support you, I think for some or 3. So for that haters, I'm not sure who are the haters or sponsors. So for the haters, for their negative thoughts, what would you give the message? That means for motivate for the youngsters as well.
I mean, haters are haters forever, because they don't have confidence. That's why they talk about others. I mean, I don't go and insult others or even talk bad about others, because we are self-confident, People who are not self-confident are the people. So you feel sorry for them. I mean, you have to feel, because they are very poor in heart. So you have to, what can you do? You can't go and fight with them, because they are weak people. Only weak people do that. So why do you need to go and even fight and argue with a weak person? Just forget it,
So what made you to buy a Lamborghini?
Actually, when I was racing in Asia, Lamborghini approached me. There was a company called Ryder Motors, who was the official racing builder for Lamborghini. They came to me and they said, would you like to drive a Lamborghini next year? And I said, fine, because at that time it was not so much reliable and people didn't like it. So I said, that's fine, and I always take risks. So in 2010, I got the car and I raced it and I won the Asian GT Championship. I think that was the first time.
2010.
Yeah. And then, so from that day onwards, they are like my family. They support me in a very big way. And it's not easy to get factory support, especially in Asia, unless you bring so much of money. But still, money will buy something, but the real, the connection, and when you feel like family. So they treated me so well, and we are always together. So from 2000, since 2010, so we've been together, and I only race the Lamborghinis.
Which module do you prefer? That means when you ride.
Actually, in the racing, we use the Huracan, but I have a Gallardo here. So most of the Lamborghinis, I love everything, because even the classics, every car has a, if you see like, not like customized, like if you see, there's a character in every car. Now see, even few people have characters, but some don't even know. Even if you say any sports people, there are few characters. You will never forget how they talk, what they do, because there's a character. So everyone should have your own character. In Lamborghini, it's special. Now if you see like Toyotas, all these cars, they all look the same. But if you see Lamborghini,
It's a unique one from there. I think you might know that Lamborghini's history, because of Ferrari it came. So I thought because of that you tried a Lamborghini.
no, they came to approach me, but and then it's a coincidence. I was born in 1963, and Lamborghini was built in 1960. I think so. There we have something, a connection, Yeah.
So what is your lucky number?
I don't believe in lucky numbers. There's nothing called luck, unluck. But I use 24 because it's my birthday, or June because it's 6. But I don't think, sometimes I have driven with 13 and I have won. So I don't, you should never be, I don't believe in heretics, astrology, all that. I don't believe at all. So there's nothing. Yeah, so I don't believe these good day, it's a lucky day, it's a bad day. So I have nothing that like in life. Whatever comes, I will use it.
Okay. And my final question is, what are the motivation lines are you going to give to your fans as well as your supporters, and what kind of message would you like to?
Yeah, especially to the Sri Lankans, I have never seen a beautiful country like this, beautiful people. So always just ups and downs, so you never give up in life. Even the worst place in the world, still there's opportunities. So you don't have to think that we have to leave this country, no opportunity. There are a lot of opportunities. It's all how you take it. But the other thing is, just nothing impossible in life. As you say, it's your hard work. You got to do. You have to take a risk. So live your life. How you want to live. No, don't let anyone control you and live the way they want. You got to live your life. Then it's so much fun. And life is such an interesting thing if you handle it right.
That means when challenges and everything comes, it's more beautiful.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It is a great pleasure to interview sir. And as a fan, I have two requests. One is I need to get your autograph as well as a drive with you, sir. And we wish you all the best for your dreams.
Thank you.